Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva, the Viva Cafe con Leche show. Welcome. Gail was here first thing in the morning on YouTube. So good morning, Gail, on the Empowering Process podcast. I am Lori Monaco coming to you from beautiful Eastern Tennessee. Happy to be here this morning. A little chilly. Actually, it's according to my temperature, it's like 50. What does it say? It's 59. That's not chilly, but it felt chilly outside. And it's supposed to be in the 60s today. Very springy here. Very happy.
Well, I think in the morning it's always a little crispy, right? It's that little hurry
Yes.
up, wake up and let's go. I love that. This morning I woke up, I felt cold because I slept with the window open. And I was like, I don't want to do nothing today. But it's always until you come from under the blankets. Good morning, mi gente. Buenos días. Aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru, coming from dreary Shelton. Just dreary, but we're going to make it sunshiny day. Because I'm awesome and you're awesome, and together we're awesome. Good morning, Chanel. Buenos dias.
Can't seem to
We're
get
full
her.
of song today.
She's full of something today.
I said we are, so I guess we both are full of
Oh, we
something.
both are full of something today. All right, good. All right. Well, I'm always full of that myself. So, and then good morning, Gail, on Facebook as well. Thank you, Gail, for that. And good morning, Chanel. I know you had said that already. And we just want to share something too that we've been pushing people to come on and share and let people know where you are in the morning, and that we are also on YouTube. And we've been wanting a lot of people to move a lot towards YouTube. And we've been seeing that a lot of people have been viewing us from YouTube, which we're really appreciative of. But we also got a few new subscribers, which was really nice, and that was a surprise. We didn't. I just happened to get this email from YouTube, and then it just said the statistics, and I sent it to Gladiator Guru, so that was a nice surprise. Good morning, Priscilla. My friend Priscilla is on Facebook. So good morning, everyone. We hope you had a great weekend. Did you do anything special? How was the weather where you were? Just let us know. How'd you do with that time change? How'd you do with that time change, Gladiator Guru?
I think it's just ridiculous. I mean, I wanted to say that it's only here, but it's not. There's also other countries and stuff that still do it. A lot of farmers I
Yes.
was reading that they were like for years have been trying to do away with it because it robs them out of that very pivotal hour in the morning where they have to do things, and it doesn't do anything but disrupt sleep. That's how I really feel about it.
Well, and the thing is that it was always said that the myth is that it was because of the farmers. They wanted to get, and actually, it's not true. That wasn't actually true. So, um, yeah, I wish we would just pick one. Honestly, you just get
Well,
used to it being a certain light, especially in the morning. And like here, because we're closer to we're towards the end of the Eastern time zone. So in the morning, it's dark. My kid is getting on the bus and it's actually dark of, uh, because we're at the end of the time zone. And I never really thought about that until I actually was traveling by car in time zones and realized that it so affects it depending on where you land in that time zone. So we always took it for granted because we were always on the near edge of the time zone, the start of the time zone. But anyway, good morning. Kathy Reese is in the house and Edith's there. So good morning, everyone. Did anybody write anything? Let's see. Chanel said it's sunny in Bristol and Cromwell. Hopefully it'll come your way. Spring will bring out the frisky. It's been springy over here. Like we've had flowers blooming. We actually have trees budding here, and it's only the beginning of March, but it actually started about 2 weeks ago. We've had flowers for about 2 weeks, so it's very interesting. It threw me off. I'm like, it's February. Like, how are these things growing? But and the temperature's not terribly different here than up in the Northeast. It is a little bit warmer, But I would think not enough to already start blooming stuff, but lo and behold, it already is.
I know because in March is when you start planting and getting your butterfly gardens together. So I guess they do bloom towards the end of March, but I just think it's beautiful to see all this light. Let's embrace it. Let's appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That things can
All
actually
right.
still grow.
Okay, so this is the becoming month, and today we're going to be talking, are you a caterpillar or a slug? We hope we grabbed you with that title. So caterpillar or slug? Good morning, Tony. Tony is in the house. So let's get started. We'll set our intention, we'll do our mantra, and then we'll get to chatting. All right, as always, on Viva, make your day intentional. Set an intention, whatever that may be, and stay steadfast with it. You could change your intention during the day. If you feel like you've met it, you can create a new intention, but always start your day being purposeful and intentional.
And do it in
And
gratitude,
yes,
or don't do it at all. That's it.
there.
There's really,
Without
there's really
gratitude,
no.
forget it.
That's it. Either you do it in gratitude, or you don't, or don't do it because you're wasting your time. And then if I'm around you, I gotta hear how you're wasting your time. So now you're wasting my time. Don't be one of those. If you set your intentions to do something, put a smile on your face. I got this, and do it. Punto y se acabó.
Exactly
¿Verdad,
what she said.
Georgie?
Exactly what she said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Okay. With that, if you really want to put that drive behind the intention, then say the mantra. So we're going to say it loud and say it proud. We want you to say it with us wherever you are. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole,
And I keep it real.
all day, no doubt. If you can't
Good
find
morning,
yourself
Desiree.
being real all day, then hang up your cape.
Good morning, Desiree is in the house. Okay, so today we are talking about caterpillar or slug. So this month is the becoming month. So everything that we're going to be discussing is going to it's being in the now and looking towards the future, or living in the now and living towards the future, whichever way you want to look at it, whichever is more empowering for you. You can look at it all any way you want to. But we have to ask those pertinent questions, those questions that are going to make you uncomfortable. Because in order to become something new, you have to do things differently in the present moment. That's why that expression is the path to insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. It is, and we do that so often. We are always thinking along the lines of, well, today's going to be different. I'm going to stay steadfast on that diet, or I'm going to be doing that exercise protocol, or I'm not going to go on social media that much today, or I'm not going to binge watch something. And you start off pretty good, and or maybe not. You know, you set your alarm for 6 so you could work out before work, and then you're like hitting the snooze. I'm too tired. It's raining today. And the today becomes your tomorrow, because the choices you make today affect you tomorrow. So if you ate that massive cake and you just said, well, I'm off the diet today because I already cheated, so I'll just do it tomorrow, that becomes your tomorrow, and then that tomorrow becomes your today, and then so on and so forth. So it is about understanding where you are today, deciding where you are today, and that will affect what you will become tomorrow. So today is caterpillar or slug, and Thursday's show is butterfly or dung beetle. So you see where we're going with this, right? You see where we're going with this. So let's talk about this. What's the difference between a caterpillar and a slug? What's your thoughts, Gladiator Guru? Are they both necessary? First off, are they both necessary in life? Yeah.
I believe everything that exists is necessary, but I'm not even gonna say put that I know what the caterpillar turns into, but they, to me, when I, at first sight, what do they both look like? They both look like slimy, crawly things. So discernment needs to be used on that one. But because I know we're gonna pick the caterpillar.
But
And
you said
you?
a good point. You made a good point. Discernment, mindful judgment, taking that step back, looking at everything, feeling it, having a greater understanding before you make a decision. Because you're absolutely right, Gladiator. They're both creepy crawlies if you feel that way. Not all caterpillars are very pretty. Some of them are just very plain. Some of them are downright freaky looking. Slugs are slugs. They kind of just look the same all the time. But and slugs can be a little grosser because they're slimier. But when we look at them, we could just write both of them off and say, what are you here for? Like, you're gross. Let me step on you. Right. But each of them have a purpose. They have very different purposes. One will become something, one just stays something. And both of them can be feed for, birds or whatever, but they serve a purpose. The question is, do you want to start with a purpose today to blossom into something? Or do you want to just start with a purpose and just sort of go along that just same old, and be that way for the rest of your life, instead of transforming. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the significance behind that and sort of the symbolism behind what we had chose for this topic. So what do you want to say about that?
I think it started off great because Gail shared how she just loves a well-made escargot. I tried that once when I was I
Those are
went to
snails, though.
I was nominated Poet of the Year one year in Georgetown, Washington D.C., and the person I went with ordered that, and I almost made a fool out of myself right there at the dining table. But hey, she loved it. She giggled and enjoyed her whole dinner with her escargot.
Never tried them. Never tried them, and I never want to. But again, so they serve a purpose. People find them as a delicacy, to each his own. But it's the
Hmm.
point being is that they do serve a purpose, So let's think about it in terms of what is it that you're doing today. When we talk about setting the intention and having a purpose for your day, it doesn't have to be a hardcore thing. Good morning, Bernie. Bernie, my friend Bernie's on. It doesn't have to be like a hardcore, like I've got to do this kind of deal. Like, like I've got to make a big thing today. Some days intentions are a little less fluffy. They're a little low energy. Depends on, how your day is going. Maybe you have a busy day today. Maybe you have to focus on certain things and you're intentional there. You're not so thrilled about doing those things, but it is part of what you must do to create your day. But in the end, it's all building up to the same thing. And you want to make sure that whatever you're creating today is going to build up into something great. So if you start something today and then tomorrow you start something completely different, and then the next day after that you start something completely different, and you say, well, I had a different intention and I was doing something different. True. Are they all, though, going to culminate into the really great thing that you want to happen for the future? So is it going to become that butterfly? Caterpillars can be moths or butterflies. And poor moths, they
But
get
I
such a
love
bad
them.
they get such a bad
I love them.
reputation.
Some of them
What
are
moths?
just beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like absolutely. But
Mhm.
but they get such bad reps. Like the butterflies get all the credit. You're going to transform into a butterfly. Well, you might want to transform into a moth. Just depends. If you're a night owl, transform into a moth. But it's about bigger things. It's about deciding what it is today that is going to be your purpose, your intention, and what is going to become for the future. Gail wrote, when I think of a slug, there are days I hide in my shell and I don't want to change. When I think of the caterpillar, there are the days I am willing to do with the work in order to become what is ahead. Right, exactly. And slugs, remember, slugs aren't shell creatures. Snails are, but they're the same kind of deal. Snails use a shell, but slugs hide under rocks. Like they hide under something because they have to. It's protective to them. Caterpillars crawl wherever. You'll find them in the grass. You'll find them on a rock, under a rock, on a tree, on a branch, on
On
a
your
leaf,
shoulder. Yeah.
and they're not afraid to get out there, even though they're very vulnerable. I mean, they have to eat. They have to do what their intention is, which is to eat as many leaves as they can or whatever. But they have a drive, and they know that at some point they will have to crawl into that tree, and they will have to cocoon themselves. And cocooning is a huge part of, sometimes you do have to go into that phase where you have to shut everything out. You have to focus inward and then become that beautiful creature.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we make it such a life's battle to really see ourselves for who we are. And I believe, agree with me, Buddha, is because we're so busy seeking outside acceptance. Because I'm constantly reading how the butterfly doesn't know what she looks like. She goes out there and she handles her business. She's beautiful, and we admire her beauty, but she just flaps her wings, right? And sometimes we're out there doing what we're doing, and we don't stop and look at our reflection in a glass or in a mirror. We wait until someone tells us. And I think the discernment of knowing who you are, and at least as the badass Buddha would say, is have setting an intention every day. Because yeah, everybody's always stressing and worrying and getting an anxiety over tomorrow, which only becomes today. So be in today so you can make tomorrow's today even better. And that's what we need to be doing with everything that we do. But you gotta, a caterpillar is, a slug does hide, because what? A slug is a slug that gets stepped on and whatever, but they know that unless they protect themselves, right, they're going to get hurt. And a caterpillar also knows the same, but they still do what they got to do. So I think, discernment, because what one person I find beautiful, which is the persons who only love butterflies, then you have that mix of people that admire the moth just the same. But you know how many people I've met that are fearful of moths and want to swat them away because they're afraid of them? Have you encountered that?
Well, I've never encountered that they were afraid. I've encountered people that just find them as a nuisance. Like they're like, oh, it's just a moth. They write them off. Have you ever seen a Luna moth? Luna moths are absolutely stunningly gorgeous, and it's a great um, thing to be able to see one. I remember in 2022 when we were in Tennessee visiting, like looking around at this area to move. We were staying at a cabin, a log cabin, and Charlotte loves all that stuff. My youngest loves all that stuff. And she
Mm-hmm.
happened to go out on the deck because the cabin had like a deck for two, like around two sides of it. And she walked out. She goes, Mom, come check it out. And there was a huge, beautiful, big Luna moth sitting by the door. And it was just spectacular. And apparently, we ended up seeing like 3 Luna moths on that trip, but apparently they're really not common. Like you don't tend to see them that much. Another one is like there's a hummingbird moth. Have you ever seen a hummingbird moth? Those are the coolest things ever. Those are very rare too. They look like a hummingbird, but they're a moth. So so that
The
means that
wings.
they become these things.
But again, and everything we've been talking about since the beginning of the year, and the awakening and all of this, and when the badass Buddha came up with these titles, I'm like, they're the ones that make you go, oh, what's this? It stirs the curiosity, as it should, within you, because it's all about seeing things for what they are. It's like we spoke, meeting people where they are and knowing where to place them in your life. But when you're looking at a caterpillar and you're dismissing something or stomping on something because of your fear, what does that say? I mean, the conversation can go 50 million ways right now, but it's
Let's
all
do it.
about, if you haven't seen um, the hummingbird moth, the lunar moth. Look them up. Google tells you everything, everybody's business, what you wore last year as a memory. So look it up. Look up things that are inspiring. That when you're having a
Yes.
conversation with somebody and something gets brought up, it's just so like ridiculously curious when you sit down and just have random conversations about something to realize that person shares the same thing, which happened to us at a Cafe Italia last night. We just happened upon. And so, what I'm saying with all of this is just be in your moment, be in your now, and but learn. Like I'm gonna look up the hummingbird. No, but I've seen the lunar one. But I just think they're beautiful. So I'm gonna look it up because I want to know what they look like. Be aware, and I think that's the awakening that we talked about since the beginning of the year. Vale?
Hey, and you know what? If you really want to get inspired too, go to one of my favorite places in South Deerfield, Mass. It's right up the street from the Yankee Candle flagship store. It's Magic Wings Butterfly Conservatory, and the cool thing about it's not cheap. The place it is, but it's worth it. It really is. You could stay as long as you want. You could just hang out there for like hours if you wanted to. But the cool part is when you go, depending on what time of the year you go, there's sometimes where there's there's always butterflies and there's moths too. They have moths in there as well. They also have quail, little baby quail running all over the place. But they sometimes there's a lot of butterflies and sometimes there's a massive amount. And if you stay still and you sit down, or sometimes even if you're walking, they'll land on you. And it's just neat to see so many different species. But that's the beauty, I think. And obviously, if you don't live near there, find a butterfly place whenever you get a chance. Whenever sometimes they travel, sometimes they'll go to like an aquarium and they'll have a butterfly display. Check it out. And when you go, view it like this: that there's so many different species of butterflies. They're all different sizes, different colors. Some of them are completely, their wings are completely transparent. And think of it in terms of all of us. We're all so very different. We are all caterpillars. We will look like we will become butterflies if we allow ourselves to be. When you look at those caterpillars, some of those caterpillars are the ugliest things ever. You would never imagine that would turn into some of the most beautiful butterflies. And I've seen it the other way around. I have seen caterpillars that are so cute, and then I look them up online and they become like the most mundane looking uh,
Moth.
moth or butterfly. But that's the beauty of it is that it doesn't matter. It's still going to fulfill its destiny of, cocooning and then coming out and spreading its wings and having the ability to fly in any direction. Think how limited the caterpillar is. And the caterpillar will at some point be able to see from a view that it couldn't see before. Before it could crawl and it would take forever maybe to climb that tree. But once it becomes that moth or butterfly, it could go all over the place. I mean, look at monarch butterflies. They travel thousands of miles. They can't do that as the moth. I mean, I'm sorry, as the caterpillar. So unless they never become a butterfly, if they always stayed a caterpillar, they would just stay right where they are. But if once they become
Hmm.
that butterfly, they're able to travel thousands of miles.
Yeah, the monarch travels 2,500 miles or 25,000, one of those. I love the monarchs. But let me tell you, everything she just said, that's us. We are always the caterpillar in different seasons of our lives. Because when that caterpillar decides that it has to go into position to give birth to the butterfly, it is the most painful thing for the butterfly, as I've read, because their wings break as they come out. If you assist the butterfly in coming out, the butterfly will die because it would never fly. It needs to go through that pain of change on its own. So when you think of yourselves and you're like, I already changed, why do things keep happening to me? Because evolving doesn't happen just once in your lifetime. When you are to evolve into the you that you're supposed to be in the season that you are living in, they're different. So you will have to change, you would have to adjust, you will have to relearn certain parts of yourself. And I think that is the biggest thing that holds us back is the fear of changing again or the unwillingness to do so, or this is this and that's that. And I don't know how everyone else changes. Some people were very okay with it. Hola, milagritos, besitos. And then you have the people that welcome it, but then you have those that I already did this. What the hell? They're gonna have to adjust. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to be around different people. And I'm one of those guilty ones. Because I was like, fuck off. Why am I around these sensitive people that are so afraid of their own shadow? They don't want to change, but they want to blame me because their feelings are hurt. So you know what? And it's not even about being around those people. It's about learning the blessings of silence. And I'm such a curious person and very inquisitive and very like, but let me tell you this. And I had this big conversation yesterday with Iritza, and I was like, people misunderstand me, but sometimes if I love you and I'm telling you, you know what, don't do that, do this, it's because I lived it, I experienced it. And if I did that, then I should be like that guardrail for you. But sometimes people just need to fall on their face. So they don't want to hear it. So again, here I am 55 and I'm transitioning again into the beautiful butterfly that's going to be me this coming year, making full circle back to February. And I know that I have to be that caterpillar who has crawled, bumpy ground since the new year. A lot of changes out of my hands, changes that weren't me, but I still had to go through the motions, right? And then now I got to blossom into this butterfly that's going to carry me. As the badass Buddha said, I'm going to need to fly and stretch my wings this full year until I decide, okay, what's up? What's next? But change is difficult, and you stretch yourself and you come back like an accordion. Sometimes until we get it, we got to play. An accordion to me sucks. Until we realize, okay, we can stretch far. We can come back to us. We can go back and learn something or eliminate something and come back to us so that we can elevate, view what branch we're choosing to land on for the day, or wherever the butterfly goes. And that's the true beauty of choice, right?
Absolutely.
Anybody?
Anybody? Bueller? Anyone?
Let me tell you, the butterfly uh, exhibit, the best one that I've been to, it's been years now, but it was at the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah. Yep.
That was one of the most, you just want to stay there. It is just breathtaking, beautiful, and sad because for my purpose of enjoyment, they're like imprisoning these butterflies who were born to be free.
Hmm.
But that was the last one I ever went to, and
That's
I'm
any
talking about.
zoo. Technically, that's any zoo.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I don't patronize those places anymore. But that was the most beautiful because they dressed it up pretty, so it made it even more beautiful. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the what we're asking of you is to really sit down for this month as we transition into spring, as we transition into rebirth, because that's what spring is. We want you to really sit with yourself. Winter time, sometimes people tend to stay inside a lot. They cocoon. They cocoon for the winter. It's too cold. I don't know. It's frustrating. I don't want to go out. There's snow. Blah blah blah. And then the spring comes out, and people want to be outside. The weather's warmer. Like, hey, let's go for a walk today. You're at work. So this is that transition period. We will have our first day of spring in this month. So we want you to really sit this month and not literally sit. We want you to get around and move, but we want you to take those pauses. We want you to ask yourself truly, what is it that I want to become this year? What is it? What do I want to do this year? Is it something that adds on to what I started last year? Is it something that's completely brand new? What changes do I want to see? And if I allow myself to cocoon, figure it out, cocoon this month, and then become for the next month, because you see where we're going with this. We're building you up, and then we're going to have you spread your wings as each month passes. We're going to be building up and building up and building up. So we did this last year. So by the time the fall comes and you're getting ready to sort of calm it down, leaves are falling, We want you to be in a massively good state of being. We want you to be like, wow, that was an incredible last few months. I can't believe where I am right now. I never thought I would be here, or I set this up to happen at Christmas time, and we're so excited about this. But it starts with being in your present, making the decision today to say, I'm choosing to be the caterpillar today so that I may become that butterfly. As opposed to I'm choosing to be the slug that's just going to crawl around really slow, hang out all the time, and go about my business as is. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We're not trying to guilt you or shame you for feeling that way. We just believe that you have a better purpose. We believe that you are meant for things that are great and have the right to live an abundant life. And to do that, you have to transition. Unless that slug's life is really, look, you could live a really great life as a slug or a snail. It doesn't mean you can't. It just means that it will be the same. And if you're good with that, wonderful. Because we've talked about that too. I had a friend of mine who she would go to work. She liked her job. She would go home. She didn't go anywhere. She loved flowers. She had wonderful flower gardens on her property. Never traveled anywhere. Hardly ever. She didn't go out to dinner much. And she was very mellow and happy. Like, not mellow, she was just even keeled. That's the life she wanted. And she was okay with it. But if you live that life as the slug or the snail and you choose to complain, that's what we don't want. We don't want to hear it. Oh, here we go. Our good morning. There she is.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Mama.
Dale un besito.
Ah. Oh. Did you hear her ask if Grandma was okay?
Yeah, she does that. Oh my God. So yesterday she put my glasses on, right? When I was coming out of the shower. And she's standing there. And all of a sudden she takes the glasses and she goes, get back to class. And puts them back on. Like, where did she hear that from?
So Gail said it's confusing between cocooning or staying a slug. I have slug moments that might actually be cocoon moments. How can I tell the difference? I think it's in the end, it's the fact that you keep moving on. Slug is just slug. You stay the same way for days, weeks, months, years. But cocooning is sort of just, here I am, I'm dealing with something. But then you come out as something else. You sat that way, and it could be for days, weeks, and months. But then when you come out, you learn something. You've decided upon something. You become more invigorated. That's the difference. Do you agree with that, Guru? Or
yes, I think that when you get to learn who the hell you are, you can have those moments like Leanne and Chanel are talking about. You can say, today I'm going to do shit because I'm tired, or I don't feel. You don't have to wake up electrified every day. So I like that they wrote that. Salud. So in the moment, no judgment, and be here. Because, and where did Chanel said something? Oh, Maron, Leanne, sometimes being the slug allows one to rejuvenate. I'm a slug this morning. Absolutely, because remember, we are the best thing to happen to us, but there's always two sides to every story, and we also can be the worst enemy. So you have to know who you are, where you are, and how you have to identify how you're feeling, what it is you're feeling. You're like, you have to have your own inquisition sometimes, before you can connect this with this and everything else. So I love that both of you have said that, because you know what? There are days we need to just lounge on the couch in our pajamas and just chill, because that's how even ourselves, you're the scientist, we've worked all week, and we've been thinking and on the phone and doing this, and we're exhausted, and we don't know why, because we slept 7 hours. Well, you're pulling from every part of you, and you're not. You're not. Just chilling. So yeah, sometimes
So
I don't have a problem
I
being.
want to make something clear though. We're not throwing out the idea of being a slug. This is the bigger picture we're trying to say to you. So like everybody's kind of focused on, I want to be a slug, like I'm giving themselves permission to take it easy. That's fine. We're not saying that. We're saying in the longer term. We're asking the question is, for the remainder of your life, do you want to be the caterpillar? Not the remainder of your life. Do you want to start off as the caterpillar or that slug? The slug is very slow. The slug is all about just being still, moving, but moving at a very slow rate of speed. Whereas a caterpillar actually is always going. Caterpillar does sit still for a while, but when they're sitting still, they're usually eating. They're just munching away, munching away. Caterpillar is doing, creating because it needs to eat as much as it can because of the transition it's going to make. Then it cocoons and it does nothing for that period of time before it transforms itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then the process starts all over again because once the butterfly comes out, the butterfly only lives for a certain period of time, and then the process starts all over again. So what we're saying to you is today we're asking you for the rest of your life, are you starting off today saying, I'm just going to be a slug? And it's okay to give yourself permission if you're tired in the morning and say, I'm going to be a slug today.
Yeah.
But at some point, are you going to become the caterpillar during the day? Or are you just going to say, nah, I'm good? And then if you are the slug, if you choose to be the slug, nothing wrong with it. But if you're going to choose that lifestyle, embrace that lifestyle. Don't sit there and complain and say, oh, well, I want to be doing this, or that person's doing this. And I really, it's so annoying that they're doing this, because you chose it. That's what we're trying to get at, that this is a month of becoming. It is what is possible. What can you see your life becoming? And yes, we hit forks in the road sometimes, things that we didn't expect. Gail could attest to that. But we sometimes do have to become the slug. Then we become that caterpillar. We get some energy. We cocoon again. And then what are we going to transform to be?
Yeah.
What are we going to become?
But that's what I was saying, because let me tell you, you and I both clearly know people who would take a day to be a slug and then they ruin the rest of the upcoming days with beating themselves up because I didn't do nothing and I knew I had to do this, and just accept that you needed a rest. You may not have understood why. That's the part I was saying about there are days you have to be the slug and be okay with it, because then you're going to get up the next day and want to be the caterpillar, and you're not going to get anything done because you're doing it from a different mindset, because you're beating yourself up about it. And I've listened to people talk about that. You, Buddha, you know what this is. So why beat yourself up over a choice you made for one day and now you're ruining the rest of your week? We all want to strive to be the butterfly, and it's a good, and it's a good what's that word I'm looking for? When you're reaching to go somewhere. It's
Evolving?
good.
Evolving?
No, like your end game, your target, or whatever for the month, or for your
goal?
your 3 months, the way I live my life. Yeah, your goal. But there's gonna be times when you're gonna just, nobody works. When you go to the bank, they're a very important job, but they don't work 7 days a week. They take 2 weeks off as a break, 2 days off. So you got to understand that you entrepreneurs, team no sleep is bullshit, especially for us. But if you have this vision and you are utilizing your time, setting your goals, or if you write shit down, if you don't, it don't matter. It doesn't make you better than the next person or not. You know what you got to do, then do it. But if in between those days you feel a little sluggish, you're going to prevent something from coming on, because when you don't rest, you get sicker. Or you're like, fuck it, I don't want to do it today. Allow yourself that grace. Be that slug for the day.
Yes.
Always getting up, saying, okay, that felt good. Now today I'm on my A game. Yeah, we don't want,
We're not talking long term. It's those moments, like Gail said.
You don't feel bad. And don't let nobody make you feel bad.
No.
You want to chill that day, you chill.
Right.
But make sure you get up. But again, discernment. If you decide to shit your life away, I'm not going to judge you, and I'm going to love you. If I know you, I'm going to love you for whatever choices you
Right.
make in life. If you choose to live your legend, like in The Alchemist, you got to go through hurdles and obstacles. You're going to get robbed. You're going to get beaten. You're going to be a genius and help somebody raise a business. You're going to meet spirits along the way that are going to enhance your life or not. But you're willing to take that risk until your last breath, then I'm rooting for you because I'm right there beside you. And it's not a race or a competition. It's life. And life is messy and confusion and exhilarating and exciting. But you get to choose the pace for your life. And that's what these shows are. These titles are phenomenal with it. Dale.
Be excited about the idea of becoming. We're not saying for you to constantly live in the future because we don't want you to be in that place. But we talked about this again numerous times. It's the past is the past. It's gone. It's done. All we could do is learn from it. So we could reflect back on the past. Remember when this happened, the good and the bad. Remember when this happened. Find joy in the powerful, happy, joyful memories. And in the bad stuff, what did you take from that? What did you learn from that? How much stronger did you become as a result of that? And even if you felt that all these years you hadn't become much, become something now. Decide today, and I'm going to learn from this. And this is what I'm going to do today with it. And then this is how it's going to affect me in the future. Because letting go means, setting yourself free from that past today. And if you are untethered from that, if you let go of that piece, what is possible for your becoming? What is possible for your future? It's just like the analogy that Gladiator Guru likes to talk about. If you're still carrying baggage from your past and you're holding it like multiple bags of groceries and you're in your present and a wonderful, beautiful, like the most incredible thing that you have wanted for so long is being handed to you. And you're like, well, I have to get back to you because I've got to put these down. And you go and you walk over here and you go to put them down and you come back and that beautiful thing is no longer there because you missed the opportunity because you were holding on to those bags. Your present sets that tone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You either just say, I'm dropping those bags and I'm going to grab onto that right now, or you could start checking yourself before that opportunity even hands itself, because sometimes opportunities don't hand themselves to you. Sometimes it takes you to have to drop the bag for that opportunity to even show up. In fact, that's most of the time. Most of the time, you have to drop that to leave space to be able to grab on to whatever's there. So, in this scenario, that's what we're talking about.
And you set the tone. And, when I started talking about that, I experienced that. But it says that everywhere, like, free yourself. Stop holding on to people, places, and things that no longer serve you, and then expect, the sunshine to be on your yellow brick road. It doesn't happen that way. And like I said earlier, with the pain that a caterpillar goes through to be a butterfly, those are the seasonal changes we must make in our lives. Now, Gail, that was awesome. Hola, Henny. Dios te bendiga. Let me tell you something. Strive to be the best you can possibly be. Be whatever butterfly you choose to be. I personally love the monarch because it's the only butterfly that flies further than any other of the butterflies. But do what you can to make you happy, and that's something that you just feel so rich in doing that you're excited to get up to every morning and do it. And let me tell you that there's a misconception that unless you have a title or a job or an entrepreneur business, then if you're just living your life and enjoying your life and doing simple things in your life, but you're happy, it's not enough. It don't matter what you do. It don't matter if you're a part-time worker, the wife of a full-time employee or businessman, but you get to enjoy gardening, you get to enjoy doing this and that. And it's a simple life, but it's a life that is free of anxiety, of fear, of all the other bullshit that everybody wants to tag onto themselves. Then you are the most successful person.
That's correct.
Because
I'm glad you said.
Lately, people have been asking me, and it bothers me, and I don't let them know it bothers me because I'm more than that. Oh, what is it that you do? Well, I do a lot of things. Oh, but what is it that you do? I do a lot of things because I am. I'm a traveling magician. But why does asking me what I do is going to make you excited or not? And listen, I experienced that when I was in Santiago for Christmas because it was a group of people who just finished their Camino. And it was this beautiful 70 something Italian man, white, white hair, just beautiful, lean. He cooked. He didn't speak to just any of us. So it was cold. I looked like a ragamuffin. Like I told you, when I'm on the Camino, I look like I belong in some shelter somewhere. But on Christmas Eve, Iris was cooking dinner. And I just dressed up because we took clothes for dress up for the holidays. But it was raining. So I dressed up. I wrapped my hair up in my wrap, put my red lipstick down. I came down and he was like, oh, la come, che bella. And then taking pictures with me. And then the next day he did. And those are people who are very aesthetic, and unless you sound important or look important. So that's what I'm saying. Be who you are. And the bottom line that we seek is the comfort of knowing we are happy and successful in what it is we choose to do. A title doesn't make you. Money in the bank don't make you. It might make your life easier, but it doesn't make you important it's who you are. It is what you choose to do with your life, how you choose to live your life, your discernment, your kindness, your intentions. So, and the caterpillar is just that. The butterfly is just that. Doesn't care how ooh and ah everybody's doing because of its beauty. It just is. And it's happy to spread its wings and fly and go to flowers and
That's it.
suck up
That's
whatever
all
you're
it does.
sucking up.
Yeah.
That's what it does. So unless you choose to be the beauty that you were born to be without titles and name brand clothing and expectations, I got to look good so they can see me, then who are you living for? Live for you. Love the you. Experience the you. Live so abundantly within the fact that you exist and you can do what makes you happy, makes you the wealthiest person I know.
I want to mention something again because when you were talking about you could have the simplest life and be happy and just go to your job and then come home, and we're not trying to say that that's a slug. They're not a slug. See, what happens is that some people will live the caterpillar, become transition into the butterfly, and then just be the butterfly for the rest of their lives. They just flitter around. You don't have to retransform yourself. If you get to your destination and you're very happy to be there, that's the difference. It's how you feel on the inside. If you wake up every morning and you say, if there's something to complain about, like, and not just, okay, it's cold out, I'm freezing. We're not talking about that. There's something in your life that you are saying to yourself, oh, I wish it was different, or I don't really want to do that. I don't really like this job, but I go. That's what we're talking about. There's being that slug, just dealing with stuff, just living that life. But then there's living that life that you created because you transformed, because you weren't afraid and you tried and you did different things and you learned and you grew. And then you've created this and you say, this is exactly where I want to be. I have those points in my life where I say to myself, getting to this part would be my nirvana. Like getting to this part, and I could be every day, wake up in complete bliss, happy to do what I'm doing, and not feel that I have to keep adding on, because I think, because you said this, and when as soon as you said it, Gladiator, you were like, oh, I'm so glad she mentioned this. We are in a society where we're always having to say, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? Sitting on a rocking chair on your front stoop is not enough. Who says? If you're sitting on your rocking chair and you're sitting in the most beautiful garden that you created, and you're sitting there rocking away, looking at it, going, I did this. This is nice. And you have enough money now to hire people because maybe you don't physically want to do it anymore. You don't want to waste the time doing it anymore. You have other people gardening and you're looking at that. That's your nirvana. You created it. You were the one that created, you're the butterfly that created all of that. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that. If you want to sip on your tea, invite friends over, have them enjoy that with you, you're living. You're living. What we're trying to say is if you are currently in your present moment, if you wake up and say, I don't feel like I'm living, I don't feel like 100%, I don't feel like I'm moving forward, I feel kind of stuck, or at the worst case, I'm depressed. I don't like my life and I hate my life. I don't like the people I'm around. I don't like my job. Then you really, really have to be that caterpillar.
Mm-hmm.
Munch away, find those nutritious leaves to munch on, and then get to that level where you can cocoon and you sit and you get ready for that transformation.
But
That's
it
what
has to
we're
come,
talking about.
yeah, and it has to come from you. Stop watching what someone else is doing. Stay the hell in your own lane. You avoid traffic. There's no bottlenecks getting to your destination because it is your destination. When you follow the masses, you're doing what everybody's doing. When you're creeping down the lane all the way at the edge, you're afraid to make the decisions for yourself. So stick into the middle lane where you're going at an even speed that best suits your life until you reach where you got to reach, and then don't get comfortable, because even though you're in that rocking chair on your porch admiring your garden, there's going to be days when you got to get up and you got to walk through it and you got to pull some weeds, okay? Or you have to water some certain things, or you just want to breeze through it and touch everything around. There's never a comfort level where you don't do anything. But no matter what it is you're doing, Gail, that is so true. I love that Gail said that. When people ask, and I don't, and I've been hearing, and people are so stuck on all of that. Be so stuck on yourself that when people ask you certain questions you don't like, you just smile and be like, yeah, no, I do many things. Yeah. And how was your day today? Divert the
Or just
conversation.
say, I'm really blow their mind. Just say, I'm a traveling musician, a magician. I'm a
Yeah.
traveling
I
magician.
have. I have told people that, and then they look
And
dumbfounded.
then
But
leave it at that.
and I've been, learning to make my exit, because you know what, my energy is one of the most important things in my life right now, and I protect it. And people have been, and you notice when you're on the right track is when you get aggravated more. People are purposely or saying things to provoke that old you. And and let me tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you, sometimes it's not hard to provoke the old Margie, because she wants to come out, especially to certain people. And I want to just punch them in the throat. And I don't care who you are at this point, but I try to be the better person. And I'd be like, but sometimes you have to say, oh, I don't think so. Or sometimes a comment's made and you're like, I'm not holding back, because some people need to be put in their place when it comes to you. So be that caterpillar. Observe your surroundings. Pick a place, a safe place where you're going to give birth to the new you, where there's no interruptions and nobody's trying to poke you or prevent you from becoming the beautiful you, the powerful you, the smart you, the important you, because they
I
will
want
be
to
around.
I want to mention Diana. Good morning, Diana, by the way. Her comment, she says, I've been praying because I don't always have the answers. We're not supposed to always have the answers. That's the beauty of it, is that prayer and meditation, two different things, they're very necessary. It's that it's that quiet time. It is that cocooning, or sometimes it can be the slug. It's that moment where we just sit and we receive information, and then we take that information and we decide what we want to do with it. I want to also mention what Kathy said. Kathy said, I had some of the most incredible thoughts and feelings as I was loading the dishwasher yesterday. These are incredible moments that surprised me. That's what happens sometimes when you're doing the most mundane task. That's why mundane sometimes is very necessary, because mundane needs to happen so that sometimes it's sitting still, meditating, praying, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's physically doing something that you've done over and over again that allows and I'm actually a much bigger fan sometimes of that, where I feel that it allows you to really ground and connect above and below.
Mm-hmm.
And that information comes in. So do what you need to do that works for you, but you're opening that space for it to come in. Again, it's about baggage. If you've got so many things in your head that you're thinking about and worrying about, not letting go, and constantly complaining about, even if you pray, because people do this all the time, they'll pray, why is this happening to me? Why are you doing this to me, God? Blah, blah, blah. Why would God even want to talk to anybody that's talking to him like that? He's like, well, you're in a
I do it
bad
all
mood.
the time. I'm like, listen, you got some splaining to do because I'm trying to do what's right, and it's shit keeps happening. Yeah, he's my father. I talk to him the way he knows my soul. But let me tell you something. When you pray at night, and this is part of what Kathy was saying, when you pray at night, you be specific in your prayer. Now, I'll remind you that when you are specific in your prayer, the answers might come quick and it's going to scare the fuck out of you.
Yes.
So, when you ask for clarity and you ask for direction, ask for the strength to understand it and do well with it. That's where we fail, because just like a job, you can land any job you apply for, but do you have the skills to maintain it? So that's how it is with prayer. So you go into prayer and you say, Father Yah, blah, 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 right? Elohim, hear my prayers. Then in the morning, you're meditating on what you asked for. And then pay attention, because the answers is going to come in the most mundane activity, like washing the dishes, brushing your teeth, whatever it may be. But you got to be focused, because you can't ask for something and then be aloof in receiving, and then you're like, oh,
Or
nobody came
or
today.
you can't ask for something and then be like, no, that's not, I didn't want it that way.
Yeah, because then you're being ungrateful, and people are just
Exactly.
like that. But when you're confused, let me tell you, one of my favorite songs is from DMX. Lord, give me a sign. And that song is just so powerful. And listen to it, because he's talking about that. Since the last time we talked, the road has been hard. And he's being honest. And then he's like, the enemy's trying to attack me. Lord, hide me. Then he's like, no, give me the strength to fight back. And that's what we need as warriors in this human world. We need to know ourselves to the point where we are that warrior to fight back, to defend and protect ourselves and the things we set forth to do that will leave a legacy going forward. So that's the kind of caterpillar you got to be, the one that knows when to take a break every now and again to recharge yourself. Because if your mission is one of grandeur, then guess what? You're going to be exhausted a lot. So you got to respect yourself to rest, but keep going, because everybody has a purpose. And within that purpose, you're human. You're going to need a break. Know thyself enough to know today I ain't doing shit. I'll pick it up tomorrow and do just that.
And
Okay.
with
But I gotta go because I have
with
grandma duty today.
that, yes. So thank you everybody for being here today. We will see you on Thursday when we're talking about butterfly or dung beetle. Your choice. All right. Thanks for being
Michelle
here today.
Houston.
I know, Michelle, but feel better,
Hi.
Michelle.
Oh
Um,
my God.
so
Thank you,
from the
everybody who participated. This was great.
badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.